Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's review we're going to go ahead and go over the second Deadtime Stories book, Invasion of the Appleheads. So this book off the bat, the cover is one of the creepiest in the series for me. It's so eerie, just the two apple-faced people and the I guess apple seeds as eyes. Yeah, that's just so freaky to me, but I love it. Um, in terms of this book, I really like this one. I love the setting a lot. So when you see the title Invasion, my first thought, at least for me, goes to aliens, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. But it's actually not an alien book. It is an invasion book of Appleheads, but it's like a witch book, pretty much. The town that this takes place in is called Appleton. It's like a parody of Salem, Massachusetts. It is a town built in the 1600s, and everyone disappeared there because of some freaky stuff going on in the local apple orchard. So the two main characters in this is a girl. I think she's the primary main character. Her name is Robin Carter, and along with her brother Andy, they experience all these shenanigans when them and their parents moved to Appleton, and they're on their way, I guess, seeing the different sites in the town, historic sites. And their mother has a guidebook, the Appleton guidebook, and it talks about this apple orchard that has the oldest house on the in the city or in the town, and everyone mysteriously disappeared because of supposed witch in the town. So of course they get curious and they go, and off the bat they're sort of attacked. Well, they're still in the car, but they're sort of ambushed by these monsters, and they look so freakishly real. And of course the parents, like in a lot of these books, they're very naive and unaware that they think they're costumes, but probably they are real monsters, which is kind of funny. But they encountered these two witches, and these witch characters I find very funny. This the main one is Yaga, and then her sister Drusilla. And Yaga is eating like this peanut brittle and making a mess, but they're very goofy witches, very self-absorbed type witches. Um, this apple orchard they're in, I love, like, on the inside, like it's so lush and beautiful compared to outside the orchard. I guess it's fall time in the town in this setting, and so there's no leaves on the trees. They're very barren on leaves. And then here's this perfect, very unnatural, supernatural apple orchard. So the apple orchard, what I also like about it is that it's like high security, because they, of course, tried to escape at some point in the orchard, and like they're on like lockdown with like electric gate, and they're blowing sirens trying to catch these two kids, which I thought was pretty funny, and I quite liked that. But when they get there, they're sort of like this scarecrow guy. He has like a cloth bag over his head, like a scarecrow, and he's like trying to tell them something, but it just comes out like grunts, and it kind of sounds like get out or go away. Um, and But eventually, they're met with the witches, and they're like, "Hey, come on in, have this apple cider and these candied apples." And they go on hay rides, and of course I love a hay ride, and of course, that just adds to the whole like aesthetic, fall aesthetic feel to this book. Um, so the kids end up not eating the candied apples because there's worms in it. But the parents, as they're on the hayride, they drink the cider, and then so what they pretty much do in the book, they give all these kids these candied apples, and they turn them into zombies, pretty much, that do the witch's biddings. And the parents, they drink the cider. They become like these shrunken doll versions, the AppleHeads, like on the cover. And they have this kind of shrunken apple head aesthetic. And another really funny part that I love about the book is that the grown-ups or the people that turn into the apple heads, they keep like their clothing, it's like it's shrunk with them, so they're like identifiable. So like the kids figure out, their parent, who their parents are. Um, but going back to the scarecrow guy, Owen, he is my favorite character in this book. Um, because you kind of can tell right away that he's not a fan of the witches, and from him trying to tell them to leave. Other parts in the book when they encounter him, like when they're in like the witch's house, they think that he's really after them when they're trying to escape, from the maximum security apple orchard. But really, he's giving them the plans to, deactivate the gate and leaving them behind. Which that kind of gets planned in your mind. Is he really on their side or is he on the kids' side? And then like another part in the book, they're in this library and they're trying to find more information on Appleton, and maybe like how to stop the witches. And of course, Owen comes in. They think that he's, chasing them, but before he leaves this diary that was written, hundreds of years ago by this girl who lived in the town when the witches were successful and pretty much like made everyone disappear. Um, and they're like, she was just totally helpless to it, and she left, pretty much the instructions on, how to defeat the witches, which is pretty much drinking their own, cursed cider that turned the people into the appleheads. So what happens? They go back, they sneak back into the orchard, pretend to be, the zombie children's, because the children's go in the town and they start bringing the applehead parents back, I guess for the final ritual or whatever. And then they pretty much in the end like trick the witch, like the main witch, Yaga, into eating her own cider through the peanut butter brittle that she likes to eat, and therefore breaking the curse. And then we find out, oh hey, Owen is actually just a regular guy that's been around for like hundreds of years. And he's like, yeah, they took my tongue out and you stopped the curse. Um, and he's like, yeah, that was my sister's diary. And then of course the parents turn back to normal and it's happy. But yeah, it's pretty decent little story. Of course, I like the comedy of the witches, and I like the character of Owen. And then the ending is pretty good too. The good cliffhanger. They're back in the car with their parents, and they're going to the next historical site, this Appleton Lagoon, where a sea monster lives, which is very funny. It makes you wonder if there's also like a Appleton version of Bigfoot, and all those, or a haunted Appleton place with ghosts, and here's this lake monster, which I think would have been a pretty funny book too. But yeah, overall I do enjoy this book. I give it 7.5, maybe an 8, depending on my mood. Especially, because of the setting, sort of being very Halloween time feeling, fall. But yeah, that's how I feel about this one. And of course, the creepy cover, pretty creepy cover. That's it. Thank you for joining me for this one, and I will see you for the next review. Thanks.